You know, it is really a pleasure to watch Megyn Kelly melt down over nothing, over cultural anger. There are few things more revealing, in a sense, than when someone says the quiet part out loud. And that's what happened with Megyn Kelly. Megyn Kelly didn't just criticize Bad Bunny's Super Bowl performance. She didn't only complain about the language choice, that the songs were in Spanish. She went into full-blown cultural panic mode, basically saying that performing a show in Spanish at a major American event is a middle finger to the United States of America. We are going to go through this. This is really a delight to watch. I take great pleasure in the fact that she is so triggered and furious about this.
I'm sorry, Piers, but to get up there and perform the whole show in Spanish is a middle finger to the rest of America. Who gives a damn that we have 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States? We have 310 million who don't speak a lick of Spanish. This is supposed to be a unifying event for the country, not for the Latinos, not for one small group, but for the country. We don't need a black national anthem. We don't need a Spanish-speaking, non-English performer, and we don't need an ICE.
Isn't this the best?
Or America hater featured as our primetime entertainment.
Okay, what is the national language, officially, the national language of the United States of America?
I mean, English. And there's been a push for many years to make it an official,
you don't have one.
Documented thing.
You don't have one.
If you would have let me finish my comment, I would have pointed that out, but people have been pushing to make it official.
Okay,
right,
so you're trying to make official.
This attitude that you have right here is why you in Great Britain have lost your culture. You ceded your culture to a bunch of radical Muslims who came in and took over, and now it's gone.
This is wild.
Not allowing that here, whether it's Hispanic, whether it's Muslim. It's not happening in the United States of America. That's why President Trump was elected. And whether it's Bad Bunny, who is American but refuses to speak English in his performances, or anybody else, we have to keep the Super Bowl, which is a quintessential American event. Football, that kind of football, is ours. They call it American football. And the halftime show and everything around it needs to stay quintessentially American. Not Spanish, not Muslim, not anything other than good old-fashioned American apple pie. There should be a meatloaf, maybe some fried chicken, and an English-speaking performer. That's what the Super Bowl should be.
Oh, man. That is really a joy to watch. You know, Piers is right. The U.S. doesn't have an official national language. It's just a fact. It's not political. The idea that Spanish speakers are some tiny, niche group is ridiculous. Roughly 40 million Spanish speakers in the United States. If just the Spanish speakers in the U.S. formed our own country, and I am one of those Spanish speakers, it would be larger than most countries on earth. It's not fringe. So that is America. Now, she takes it even further. She says that the Spanish language Bad Bunny performance is linked to cultural collapse. There should be an immigration panic, of course, ignoring that Bad Bunny is American. Puerto Ricans are American. She says Britain has lost its culture. This is what happens when grievance becomes your worldview. Now, one little note on people don't understand the lyrics. A lot of songs that are in English, people don't understand the lyrics. This is like a widely discussed thing, that song lyrics are often misunderstood. It's a little detail, but it's sort of like, who gives a damn? Do you like the music? Do you like the performance? But everything starts to look like an invasion. We're being invaded by Americans from Puerto Rico. We're being invaded by a language spoken by 40 million Americans. Wait a second, what? And so everything feels like we're losing. They're taking something from us. And then the part that sounds almost like satire is she goes, oh, it should be quintessentially American. Meatloaf and fried chicken and apple pie and English-speaking performers. It's this nostalgia, wet dream fantasy built around the diner menu of the 1950s. And the reality is American culture has always been mixed. You bring in German immigrants and it affects the food and the language, and Italian immigrants and Irish and Jewish and Latin American and Asian. And, every single one of these waves changed American culture. And every time someone was saying, no, they will destroy the country. After you had a lot of Germans come in, Then you had the establishment whites, whoever qualified, going, the Irish and the Italians, yes, they're European, but they're not really white like us. And then, of course, now Irish and Italians are considered white, but now it's some other group that's like, they're not really white. Now, one point about Bad Bunny specifically, and I want to go back to it. Puerto Rico is part of the United States. Puerto Ricans are American citizens. And so the factual wrongness of insisting that a Puerto Rican performing in the United States is any kind of foreign thing points to a deeper issue. And it is that all of this is not really about the facts. It's about cultural fear. If there is anything that is perceived as a change, demographically, language, they panic. They have one vision of what America is. It's this really narrow slice of history. And the irony is that the Super Bowl is already a global event. There's global sponsors, there's a global audience, there's global performers. I was in Portugal at the time of the Super Bowl, and there were bars there. People were staying up very late to watch the Super Bowl. But suddenly Spanish is where the line is drawn. It's really just identity anxiety. Now, there is a real conversation to be had about national identity, assimilation, shared language, social cohesion, and it can be done in a serious manner. Those topics are looked at seriously by anthropologists and social demographers, and that's not what these commentaries, these panicked commentaries are. They are just culture war performance. And it's everything I don't like is anti-American, even if it's actually American. Now, I think that long-term, this is very risky politically because younger Americans are growing up multilingual and culturally mixed in most of the United States. Diversity isn't seen as a threat. So when they hear, wait, Spanish from an American is anti-American, that doesn't sound patriotic to me. That sounds scared. That sounds outdated. And that's why it's a little satisfying to see how these meltdowns are happening. And maybe part of it is generational. Megyn Kelly is, she must be she's 55 years old. Maybe there's a generational aspect to this. I don't know, but it starts to sound like old man yelling, "Get off my lawn." And if your vision and definition of America can't survive a halftime show in Spanish, I don't think it was very strong to begin with. We have a phenomenal bonus show for you today. I will tell you what happened during my transit through immigration when landing in the United States. We will talk about the abduction of Savannah Guthrie's mom. And we will also talk about what is happening with the Stonewall Memorial in New York. The pride flag will be re-raised triumphantly. All of those stories and more on the bonus show. Get the bonus show now by signing up at joinpakman.com.
Oh, the bonus show where you want to make money, but everybody else that makes money to fund themselves is bad.
Yeah. All of that and more on the bonus show. I'll see you then. Appreciate you watching. Stick around for this next video and don't forget to hit subscribe so you actually see our uploads. You can also catch the full podcast on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.